Please make sure you like, comment, and just keep it open ears as much as possible, because most important is the knowledge that I want to spread. Um, so we're gonna go off again today. Sorry about the. I'm gonna put my glasses, but you might see the ring light on my glasses. But please try to ignore that. I do need my glasses to read. In my other video, I already done a part 1 and part 2 to the agreeable darkness, but I feel like I still have more to explain with the agreeable darkness. Um, with the law of polarity, it's like you need both sides. You need the good and the bad. So you have the agreeable darkness, then you have the disagreeable darkness, then you have the agreeable light, then you have the disagreeable light. But everything's all one and the same, you know. So you can't get the agreeable darkness without the disagreeable darkness. You can't get the agreeable light without the disagreeable light, you know. So it's just for us to understand that you, as much as you need the light, you also need the darkness, you know. But the darkness doesn't necessarily have to be evil. The darkness can also be a place of creation, peace, which I'm going to discuss anyway. So I'm just want to dive deep. I just want to dive, dive deep in quickly, and just with obviously with Bible verses, obviously to back up what I'm trying to speak about with the agreeable darkness, because a lot of people feel like the darkness is evil, but really and truly the darkness is not evil. The darkness is what you make it. You know, you can make it evil, but the darkness is just darkness. You know, you can make it evil and you can make it good. We have the power within us to will anything into our existence, into our physical reality. So the agreeable darkness. So for introduction, my writing's a bit small, so obviously I'm going to read it out. I'm gonna try to put in some captions as well, so it can make sense as well. But if you can see it, should be able to see it. But my writing's a bit small, but I should be able to see it. But for introduction is what's gonna kick us off to what I'm trying to talk about. So introduction, we have to give up the English word black. It's just as simple as that. We need to, especially us as Nubians. I don't like calling us black. This is exactly what the topic is about, because I don't really like calling us black, because the West has named us as like Africans, and like these are not our names, you know. They've given us names, they're giving us their names, you know. But it's like we need to understand who we are, and we need to understand what we need to take out from our lives, from our whole existence, so that we can create our own reality for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, it's like we are living in other people's reality, especially us as Nubians. When I talk about Nubians, I'm talking about us so-called black people. So we need to understand that the word black is not real, because it's the word black has always evolved. They used to call us Moors, and they called us Negroes, Negroids, and then it just became black, you know. But the way they're trying to describe us is not the way God describes us. It's not the way we are meant to be seen. We're not meant to be seen as just a black. Black is just a color. We are Nubians. We are Yoruba. We are Medinkas. You know, um we are Zulus. You know, we are tribes. You know, that's who we truly are. We are not the word black, and they've made black evil. They've made black as something that you frown upon against. You know, like they made the devil black. You know, with a pitchfork, the devil's a black man. You know, and the angels are white. You know, so this is what this topic is about. That there is darkness within you, and darkness can be peace within you. And even though I'm dark skinned, this is the color of the creator. Darkness is the color of the creator, you know, not black. Darkness, melanin, you know, carbon. That's who we. That's our nature. Once a white person has a baby with a black person, you know, or a lighter person has a baby with a so-called black person, they'll still call that child black. You know, it's like it doesn't. We don't escape from things, you know. So that it's like, so we came in every shade of dark, but we are not black. Black is a color they used to degrade us by making it negative. The devil made darkness bad, but he called himself white and covered himself in the light to deceive the original people of God. So it's like the devil called himself white because if you just look at his skin, he's not white. He's more of a red man, but he called himself white to so you can see him as something that is good, something that But if you really look at it, it's not about your skin color; it's about your actions. So this is not even about a race video. It's not about racism. It's about your actions, regardless if you're dark skin or light skin. It's about your actions that determine who you truly are. It's not about your skin color. And what do we see today? We see so-called white people doing all the mischief, causing all the mischief. I'm trying to say around the world, trying to conquer, trying to take over the world, trying to take over the globe, trying to take over the universe. They're trying to be like God, but they don't understand that they cannot be like God. And when I talk about white or so-called white, I'm not talking about normal like white people that we see on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about the powers that be. And it's not even about even whiteness, because that's just it's not about racism, because that's just a distraction. you know it's about hierarchy. That's what it's about. It's about hierarchy. Because if you now look at it, now we got the black nobility. It's actually black people that rule the world, but we rule the world. The disagreeable so-called black people that rule the world, but they're ruling the world from from behind the scenes, and they're making like so-called white people to be the front of the scene. With, for example, the people that run the banks, the people that run the social media or the media, the people that basically run the world. I'm trying to say that we see that run the world, but really and truly, it's actually the black nobility. It's actually us. If you know the story of Yakub, that's just another story anyway. But I want to dive into the real topic today. That's just a quick glimpse. I just had to try to like go through that quickly. But I want to dive into what exactly we are trying to speak about today. So the agreeable darkness has so many there's so many ways we can touch with the agreeable. There's so many ways we can know that the darkness is actually agreeable, that the darkness is actually order, that the darkness is actually good, just to make it simple, you know, because we have creation, when we talk about Genesis, creation, then we have the dwelling place, then we have peace, self growth, connection with God and self. So these things are merely just within a human being or within self. When we talk about the agreeable darkness, it's nothing really that you can see outside of yourself. It's things that you can see inside of yourself. I'm trying to say you have to go within to see that agreeable darkness, you know. So the first one is creation. So creation, Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So this means that there had to be darkness for creation. For example, I want to make this for a human being. I want to make an example from like creation and how it it correlates with our reality. Um, for example, someone's is has anxiety and always has stress and always has a drinking problem, has a drug problem. They are in the darkness. They are in a disagreeable darkness, but they can change that disagreeable darkness to agreeable darkness. But with knowledge, with God, they mean they need to see God in their darkness. They need to, we call it the shadow self. That's what the darkness is, shadow self, because the shadow is dark. The shadow is still you. The shadow follows you, and like in the night, in the night you see your shadow. What I'm saying? It follows you wherever you go. It's you, but it's you that's unseen. It's you. It's something that's unseen. It's something that only you can see. I'm not saying that other people can't see your shadow, but it's like really and truly your shadow self is actually within you. But it's like everything is everything is polarity. Everything is as above, so below, as within, so without. So as you see your shadow in real form, same way you can see your shadow inside of you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can see the good inside of you, and you can also see the bad inside of you. It's like, and it's only you that can see that. Only you can see the good inside of you, and only you can see the bad inside of you. No one else can see that. I'm trying to say, unless you make it visible to people. So with Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, it's really important for us to understand that God was in the darkness when he was creating heaven and the earth. So meaning not that he had no understanding, but he had to awaken himself, meaning before he created the heavens and the earth, everything was in a sleep. You know what I'm saying? Everything was asleep. Everything was in a sleep state. So he had to awaken himself, and then he had to awaken everything else, for creation. And that's the same thing with us. When we are asleep and we don't know the true nature of ourselves, we don't know our power, we have to awaken ourselves, in that darkness. So we need to go deep inside of ourselves through meditation or through prayer, to go deep inside of ourselves, to awaken ourselves, to awaken each cell, each agreeable cell in our nature, and to awaken each agreeable, agreeable, agreeable feeling in our nature, agreeable emotions in our nature, so that we can be able to conquer our shadow self. That's the only way you can conquer yourself, is by going within, is by meditating, and it's also by doing rituals, is by doing things that will discipline yourself, is by making sure that the physical body becomes a slave to the mind, to the agreeable mind of God. So so darkness was upon the face of the deep. So there was dark. So darkness is there for creation. When you see that there's darkness, it's only there because it is there for creation. It's only it's only darkness that can awaken creation. A light cannot awaken creation. Only darkness can, because when you're in the darkness, you can only see things that's of the darkness. But it's all about the mind to see things that's of the darkness. you know you need to be positive in your darkness. When you're going through stress and anxiety, you need to have that mindset that even though I'm going through this is making me stronger. This I can still will things into existence. you know I'm not stagnant. I'm still working on my shadow self. you know so as the same way you can create your light, is the same way you can create agreeable darkness. You can have disagreeable darkness, and then you can create the agreeable darkness within the disagreeable darkness. You know, so we control everything. We control everything. I'm just trying to get through all of this. I'm not going to explain too much, but I just want you to get a sense of what I know, because there's so much more I need to talk about with other natures of dark and light. The next one is dwelling place. So this dwelling place is closely linked with creation, because God's dwelling place was darkness before he started creating. So dwelling place. So 1 Kings chapter 8 verse 12. Then spoke Solomon, the Lord said he would dwell in thick darkness. So what does this mean? This is one of the clearest verses Solomon is dedicating to the temple, acknowledge that God said he would dwell in thick darkness. So meaning God can will anything into his existence. God can will anything into his own nature, into existence. God can make darkness good. He can, because he's the creator of the heavens and the earth, so he can will anything into existence. He can say, darkness, I'm gonna make you a shining light. It's crazy. God can actually say he can make darkness into a shining light. God can make a darkness a shining light to you. Do you know how he can do that? He can do that by you acknowledging your faults. Because at the end of the day, it's like when we do something negative, we are in the darkness. But once we acknowledge it, we are creating our light in that darkness. But as we acknowledge it, it turns into agreeable darkness. Because without the disagreeable darkness, there won't be agreeable darkness. So it says here that the Lord said he would dwell in thick darkness. And this was when Solomon was building his temple. And God wanted to dwell in the temple. So God said he will come in thick darkness and he will be there. You know, he will be there with Solomon. He will be there in that temple. God made darkness. He made darkness into himself. He willed darkness into himself because of what he wanted to show to people, because of what he wanted to prove to people, that you can do anything with the darkness. You can do anything with the light. You know, it is just darkness and light, but you can make it agreeable or disagreeable. So dwelling place, agreeable darkness is some way we can dwell within us. It's a dwelling place. It's a place of peace, and that's what I want to touch on. The darkness is a dwelling place, a place of peace. You know, you have to, like, everything's about meditation and prayer. You know, especially when you want to will things into existence, especially when you want to manifest, especially when you want to change your mind, especially when you want to uh take out certain negative thoughts and switch it and make it something positive. You know, taking a negative and making it a positive. Only we can do that. You know, so it's somewhere we can go in. Like we got an inner world within ourselves. You know, there's an inner world within ourselves. There's a world outside here. You know, but there's so much distractions. There's so many things that can distract. There's so many things that can put us down. There's so many things that can lead us to sin. But in here, this is the only place that we have peace. This world that we have within ourselves is the only place that we have peace. So it's like, forget about everything else that's happening around you, or focus on the things that's happening within you. Because once you focus on the things that are happening within you, everything else outside of you will bow down to you, you know. But it's like you have to put it in consistent practice. It's not something you have to do for a day and then let it go. You have to keep on thinking about it. You have to keep on finding different ways to create peace in your mind, body, and soul, you know. Because some people, I know myself, sometimes it can get very boring when it comes to spirituality, because it's like you feel like you know everything, but you really don't. You really don't. So hence why you need to keep on testing yourself. You need to keep on uh, uh, making making things harder for yourself in a way so that you can actually be able to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like doing rituals like fasting, you know, like working out, eating clean, you know, by praying, meditating, you know, by journaling. That's what I'm gonna start doing as well. I'm gonna start practicing journaling. So different things that you haven't tried before, try it, you know, because these things could actually help you create your agreeable light. Because that's what we want at the end of the day. We want that agreeable light. But without the agreeable darkness, we won't be able to get our agreeable light, you know. And what's the agreeable light? Christ is the agreeable light. Jesus Christ is the agreeable light. But I'm not talking about the person, I'm talking about the action, you know, because that's the end of the day, that's what you want to be. You want to be perfect like Christ. The third one is peace for agreeable darkness. So in Psalm 139, verse 11, 12, if I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Ye, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. The law of polarity. It says here, the darkness and the light are both alike. They're both alike. So you can't say darkness is bad, and you can't say light is good. You can't say light is bad, and you can't say darkness is bad. Or you can't say darkness is bad, and you can't say light is bad. You can't say darkness is good, and you can't say light is good. They're all one. You know, you can't just say one thing. You have to have agreeable and disagreeable light, agreeable and disagreeable darkness, because that's how it comes together. You know. So they are both alike. So let me just break this down. So if I say, surely darkness shall cover me, even even the night shall be light about me. Ooh. So that's how powerful you can be. You can say, darkness is upon me, you know, darkness is upon me. You can change your your disagreeable darkness into your agreeable light. But first you need to change your disagreeable darkness into your agreeable darkness, and then you get your agreeable light. So if I say, surely the agreeable darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be agreeable light about me, you know, ye, the darkness hideth not from thee. So the darkness don't hide from you. The darkness stays with you because you are the darkness. You are the darkness. You are the light. You can't hide from it. You can't hide from God. You can't hide from what God made. So you are the darkness. You are the agreeable darkness. You are the disagreeable darkness. You are everything. You are bad and good. You're agreeable and disagreeable. You are order and disorder. You know, we have that in our nature. We can't take that out of us. But however, we are so powerful, we can make darkness into light. We can make ourselves darkness and still shine light to others. You know, we can even be working ourselves through agreeable darkness. Because I told you, creation is for working on yourself. That's creating something new. That's agreeable. You can be agreeable darkness within, and then you can shine agreeable light to people, even if you don't have agreeable light within yourself yet. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do anyway. It's very tricky. That I don't know if you get that. If you get that, if that flew over your head, but it's like you have to think about that properly because it might fly over your head. But yeah, so the darkness and the light are both alike, you know. So darkness here is not threatening. Instead, it is a place where God still sees and is present. There's comfort and peace in the idea that darkness isn't a barrier to God's presence. So these are my notes that I wrote. So I just want to break it down and explain it for you. So darkness here in this chapter in Psalms that from David, darkness here is not threatening. Instead, it is a place where God still sees and is present. So we need to see ourselves like gods because we are children of God. So we need to see ourselves like God. So meaning, if God can be still and see in the darkness, so can we. So can we. We have the power to see and will things into existence in the darkness, even in our stress, even in our anxiety, even in our negative ways. We can still do it. But however, you need God for it. Because what you're trying to do is turn that disagreeable darkness into agreeable darkness. You need the Most High for it. You know, you need Christ for it. You need Christ to guide you. You need God to guide you within that disagreeable darkness so you can create your agreeable darkness. Then you create your agreeable light. So you need God. You need God within you so that God can hold your hands and follow you in that darkness. Remember, we're working on our shadow self. We always have to keep on working on our shadow selves because that shadow is us. We are that shadow. We are that shadow that can destroy our lives, or we are that shadows that can make our lives worthwhile in this world. So there's comfort and peace in the idea that darkness isn't a barrier to God's presence. So darkness is not a barrier. Your struggles are not a barrier. Your crying is not a barrier. You know, you losing your job is not a barrier. You having no money is not a barrier. You struggling to get pregnant or get a spouse or get married, it's not a barrier. So if it's not a barrier to God, then it's not a barrier to you. Things of this world is not a barrier. You know what's a really a barrier? Us not having God in our life. That's a big barrier. When you don't have God in your life, when you don't keep God first, that's a big barrier. Because if the darkness is not a barrier to God, yeah, and God can still will things into existence, why can't we? Because we have God in us. But like I said, you need God to guide you. You need God to hold your hands within that disagreeable darkness so you can create your agreeable darkness. Once you hold God's hand blindly and let him, and just let him, just let him take you wherever he wants to take you. Just surrender to him. You need to just surrender. Like you surrender, you just take that defeat that God is the true creator and God is the only one that can really save your soul. You know, so it's the things that are unseen we are afraid of. It's the things that is hidden within us that we are scared of. You know, things that we can't see, the things that it's not even in existence yet. These are the things that we create in our minds that make us scared of life, that make us have anxiety, that make us not actually want to push through to what we actually want to achieve. It's the unseen things, the things that we haven't even been through yet. That our mind is tricking us. The reason why your mind is tricking you because you are in that disagreeable darkness. But you need to understand that you are not that. You are just consciousness, you know, and the supreme being is governing your consciousness. So you need to understand that once the supreme being governs your consciousness, that's all you need to be, you know, because like I said, we have good and bad in us. So good and bad thoughts will come about regardless. Even if you don't want to, you could be the best person. Good and bad will still come about. Good and bad thoughts to come about. Good and bad situations still come about. These are the things that you can't control. But once once you know that your consciousness and God is the only one that controls consciousness, because God is consciousness. Once you know that God controls consciousness, that means God, and you know your consciousness, that means God is the one that's controlling you. You need to wear the suit of God, you know? So it's the things that's unseen that we are afraid of. You're afraid of the things that are unseen, things that we can't see. When you're in a pitch black dark and you don't know where you're going, of course you're going to be afraid. You don't know where you're going. But it's the faith, it's the knowing that once you're consciousness and you're the observer, you hand everything to God. Because why? You're just observing and God is just holding your hand. He's the one leading you. But all you're doing is just sitting back, kicking back, chilling. Let God hold your hand and just observe. Because God is the one in the driving seat. The fourth one is self-growth. So we're going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 3. I will give the treasures of darkness and the hoards in secret places, that you may know that it is I, the Lord, the God of Israel, who call you by your name. This interpretation means treasures of darkness suggests that in dark or hidden places, God provides wisdom, peace, blessings. This verse hints at peace found in the hiddenness of obscurity under God's hand. So treasures and darkness. Treasures of darkness, sorry. So God said, I will give thee the treasures of darkness. What's the treasures of darkness? Things that are unseen. Things that you can't see yet. Your future that you can't see yet. You know? But God said he will give that to you so that you can be able to see it. Because like I said, God can will anything that exists. He can make something that you can't see and you'll be able to see it. So he said, I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places that you haven't touched yet, places in your being that you haven't touched yet. This means that there's things to find out. There's always things to find about yourself. This means that you always have to be within. You need to go inside. You have to go inside, especially in this day and age. You have to go inside of yourself. It is needed. You need to be more inside. You need to be more inside here and inside here than out here. But not inside here to think negative, but inside here to actually see the hidden treasures of God. That's why you're in here, to see the hidden treasure of God, the things that God hasn't shown you yet. You want to manifest it. You're telling God, God, please show me things I've never seen before. Because that's the way to grow. We need to see things that we've never seen before. We need to see the hidden treasures that God wants to give us, so that we can have more confidence in ourselves, so that we can have more belief in ourselves, so that we can know ourselves more, so that we can strive, so we can push, so we can conquer. You know, that hidden treasure. There's that hidden treasure. There's lots of treasures that we need to find from ourselves in this life. They said, I will give thee the treasure of darkness, things that are unseen, and the hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which called thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. So God has called you, and he's telling you that he's going to give you things of riches. He's telling you that he's going to give you things that is hidden in secret places, things that you haven't explored yet, things that you don't know nothing about yet. But first you need to find it. When God said that, that doesn't mean that you just lay back. You know, and I know I said let's lay back and chill, but it's like when we're laying back and chill, when we observe, I did say observing. So when we're laying back and chilling and observing, we are actually doing. Observing needs to be done so that we can have the reason to do, you know? So we need to do the work within ourselves, because God has put those hidden secret. I mean, God has put those treasures of darkness within us already before we were conceived. He's put that in us already, but now it's time for us to find it. It's time for us to grow in that agreeable darkness. It's time for us to meditate. You know, it's time for us to go into prayer. Then when going to prayer, then we action, because without you can't just be praying, meditating, and you're not putting no action towards it, because we're here to manifest. That's the real magic. The real magic in this life is manifestation. You need to will things into existence. You know, so mayest know that I, the Lord, which call by thy name, am the God of Israel. Treasure of darkness. I already said this. So the last one is connection with God and self. I didn't have a Bible verse for this one because I feel like they all link together. So connection with God and self-growth. So dwelling in the agreeable darkness does not mean God is absent. It's a realization to trust God wholeheartedly. I'm going to repeat that again. Dwelling in the agreeable darkness does not mean God is absent. So when I say dwelling in agreeable darkness does not mean God is absent. It means that you need to understand that you are in agreeable darkness. Because once you understand you are in agreeable darkness, just know God is there. Just know God is there. Even in the disagreeable darkness, God is there. God is everywhere. He's in the disagreeable darkness. He's in the agreeable darkness. He's there. He's there when you sin. He's there when you pray for him to forgive your sin. He's everywhere. He doesn't leave you. That's what you need to understand. You need to understand that God's always with you. God is always with you. No matter what. God never gives up on his children, especially when he knows that you're obedient, especially if he knows that you have that sense of obedience. You know, we're not perfect. We will definitely make mistakes, But when God knows that we are obedient to him, he's going to be there through our struggles, through our pain, through our laughter, through our happiness. You know, he's going to be there through every single bit in our life, every single space in our life. He's going to be there. So connection with God and self-growth. So this helps with connection with God, knowing that God doesn't leave you. Just know God doesn't leave you regardless. So it's a realization to trust God wholeheartedly. So if God is still with you in the dark times, this means you need to trust God. Because imagine when God's with you in the good times. You know, always trust God, no matter what. It might sound so cliche, but this is what this is about. Trusting God within yourself, not out here, but within yourself. Knowing that there's God within yourself, knowing that you can find Him there, but you need to work for it. You need to work for it. Nothing good comes easy. But as long as you're pushing, you're trying, that's all that matters. But it's all about the mind. You need to be doing things that are tough. You need to be doing things that challenges you. Working out. You need to be working out like these 5 days a week. Everyone should be working. We're all humans. We need to be moving our body. And then we need to be cleaning our bodies as well, the internal. As we're cleaning our internal, we need to be cleaning our mind as well through meditation. And this is what the Agreeable Darkness is about, meditation. I'm putting this in practice as well for myself. The agreeable darkness is simply meditation, because the only way you can find the agreeable darkness is within yourself. You can't find the agreeable darkness outside. You can't find the agreeable darkness in the world. You need to go within yourself. Christ is within you. Within you. Everything's within you. This is where you're going to find your true life purpose, is within you. It's not here. It's not out here. Once you go within and you find it, that's when your reality starts to show you things. You start to see things. And it's just like magic, you know, because God is light and dark. God is good and bad, you know, like we are. We are light and dark. We are good and bad, you know. There's just no one way out of this. This is who we are. And when we understand it, this is when our life is going to start changing, you know. And like I said, I'm doing my work with my shadow self as well. But as I'm doing my work with my shadow self, I also want to share my journey with you, you know, because I know a lot of people are going through it, and I want to show you that it is possible to succeed. It is possible to actually go through that darkness and turn your darkness into agreeable light. You know, turn your darkness from disagreeable darkness and then turn it to agreeable darkness and turn it to agreeable light. Because at the end of the day, we want to shine light to the world, but it's all going to make sense with my other topics. So my other topic is going to be concluded of the disagreeable darkness, the agreeable light, and the disagreeable light. So those are the topics going to come up next in the upcoming videos for this. It's literally a whole series. So I just want to make sense of it so that we understand the polarity of nature, the polarity of ourselves. You know, I'm trying to say that we are good and bad, and we are light and dark, but it's what we do with it that makes us who we are, and that makes us the God that the Most High created us to be on earth. But thank you for watching. Like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. You might be again, obviously annoyed with the ring light on my glasses, but I need to see. So thank you for watching again, wherever you are. Have a good night, morning, or afternoon. Peace and blessings. Peace.